What are you drinking?
Seltzer right now. I had quite the weekend.
Mm.
I almost died, I think. And then yesterday, I was like driving home, and I know that we were like talking about potentially doing it yesterday, and like I got to Naomi's house and was like, I can't leave this bed. This is my home now.
Yeah, I've been there.
It's just like you think, you're invincible until it happens.
Yep,
So
I do it
so
to myself way more often than I'd like to admit.
what do you think?
Not bad. Looks good.
Right? Not bad. If we could get sponsored by China in in general.
I was trying hard for Bud Light or
Bud
Miller
Light.
Light the other day. I thought I could get them to fight over us. Didn't work.
Yeah, no, Bud Light just left us on red, and then Miller Lite just never even acknowledged us.
Yeah. I mean, what do you expect, right?
Well, you would think that they would respect us a little bit more. All we've done for the podcasting community over the last
It's true. It's true.
month.
What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us today. We're on a very special remote episode of the Philly Specials today. Wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the trade that happened this past week. Eagles traded the number 6 overall pick and 156 overall, and in return they moved back to number 12, uh, grabbed a fourth round pick, number 123, and netted a first round pick next year, which is the big guns on that trade. Um, so, we've been talking a lot about, pick number 6 and what we think, who we're hoping to get. Our bracket would seemingly be busted, but we're still confident that a few of the guys that are hanging around may still be there at 12. So, Dom, what are your thoughts on the trade, man?
Yeah, so I think it was like one of those situations where it was the different stages of grief. I started off and I was in the middle of like a really busy workday, so I think the trade broke. I want to say like 2 o'clock. Just for round numbers purposes, it was 2 o'clock. I think I saw it at 3:30 after like an hour and a half call, and I'm like, I'm having a terrible day, and I see this, and I have like 15 text messages and requests for emergency podcasts, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe they've done this. I'm not going to get Jamar Chase. Like, I lost out on the one player that I wanted the most, and we're going to stink forever. And then I saw the news about Zach Wilson, and I was like, oh my God, this franchise is going to actually make me just kill myself. Like, that's it. Like, I'm just not going to live. But as all things, as time went on, I started to really think about the process behind moving back, the assets that we gained here, and I gotta say, I pretty much, you know, I'm on board. I think every day that passes, I like it a little bit more. Um, I think that my big thought process is if we lose out on Chase, and Chase is the guy who would have been there at 6, which I'm not even sure if he's going to be there at 6. I think that Joe Burrow is going to kind of say, I want my guy. So then they'll probably go for him at 5, and then we would have been able to get, like, say, Pitts. I think Pitts is going to be a really good player, obviously, the way we talked about him the last couple weeks. But uh, Pitts Pitts in exchange for, say, a Mika Parsons or a J.C. Horn or even a Devonta Smith or a Jalen Waddle and a number one and a first round pick next year. I think that's all things we know right now. Not a bad trade. I think you're probably getting the better end of the deal on that because you got future assets, and now looking forward to 2022. If I'm right and Jalen Hurts is great, we're in a really good situation. And if I'm wrong, we have all the bullets we need to go out there and get somebody, whether that be through the draft or through a trade, Russell Wilson. So where are you at with it?
Yeah, yeah, I pretty much agree with like my initial reaction was that I was a little upset, and I think we all sold ourselves. We were all excited to have a big playmaker, whether it be Jamar Chase, whether it be Kyle Pitts, um, and we had talked about a couple other guys that maybe won't be there at that point. Devontae Smith's kind of up in the air if he's going to be around. We had a conversation about Jalen Waddle. Um, so everybody was excited to see like a major playmaker, and I don't think this rules that out. mean, like you said, there's definitely a chance that Devontae Smith will still be hanging around there. But new guys come into play. Mika Parsons is a guy that comes into play. Rashawn Slater is a guy that comes into play, even though he's a tackle, and we were kind of off on that idea. Even a guy like Rashad Bateman, who's like a little further down at 12, he's not a huge reach. I mean, a lot of people have him going mid to late first. Um, so I think there's still a chance to grab a very good player, maybe even a blue chip player if 4 or 5 quarterbacks go before us. And I think that the Eagles just know that they're not one playmaker away, and I think that everybody has to kind of realize that. Um, at best, we need 2 corners, probably 3 linebackers, and that's just the immediate needs, and certainly a wide receiver, and those are just the immediate needs for 2021. If you look even further, next year when we're going to have 3 first-round draft picks, um, we're going to need probably a guard. If Sayamalu's not the plan, we're probably going to need the center of the future. Darius Slay is going to be a year older. We may need yet another corner. Um, there's a lot of holes that have to be filled. And the other good thing about having 3 first-round picks is if your team ends up being decent and Jalen Hurts doesn't shake out, which whether you like him or not, you have to consider as a serious, serious possibility. You have the ammunition you need if you need to go get a guy, whether it be trade, you said Russell Wilson, or to trade up in the draft and get, one of these guys that are coming out next year.
Yeah, and that's another interesting thing about getting this pick and moving back. And I think a lot of people would say the detractors of this trade are thinking that Howie Roseman should not be the one in charge of this rebuild, and there's probably a lot of truth to that. But I think of it as they do have a proven track record of building a winner. It's just not keeping a winner together, is what it seems like they just did not know how to do. They did not know how to maximize Wentz's window, and they filled it with bad contracts. And now we're sitting here and we have to rebuild again. But
Well,
you know,
everything they did in that, like, talk about that 2016 or 2017 team.
mhm,
Everything they did, none of that was designed to be long-term success. I mean, we said before they built a team out of free agents and vets, and that in and of itself provides you a short window. Then their coaching staff was, we know now, made up of a player's coach, right,
mhm.
and then great coordinators, and that gives you a short window because as soon as you're successful and you make a deep playoff run, we got lucky and we struck gold and we won the Super Bowl, but there's always luck involved, right? Like the way to win is to have sustained success year after year, and then sometimes the ball rolls your way and you end up winning. We really caught lightning in a bottle, and so as soon as you have some success with that coaching structure, you just get your guys plucked away because they go get head coaching jobs. Look at Frank Reich. I mean, if we hadn't won the Super Bowl, if we had lost in the Super Bowl, Frank Reich still would have been hired as a head coach somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So they just start to reel those guys away, and then you have to find new coordinators that are going to be just as effective. It's impossible. So the Eagles were never set up for sustained success. And the way you do that is drafting well, and to go a step further, developing players well. And that's not something they've been good at.
Right. And also another thing that I think is important is and this is a Eric Davis TM uh, quote, but asset management is another huge aspect of building a winner. And I think a lot of people when they first saw this trader, like, what the heck are you doing, Howie? What are you doing? Stop being the Howie hate, which is probably warranted, is like you also have to step back and look at a trade and not put his name to it if you're going to make a determination if you like it or not. And that's what I think immediately everybody's like, I hate this trade. I don't enjoy Harry Roseman, and anything he does is wrong. And then you step back and you're like, all right, well, I just netted a first, which may be in the 20s, could be higher because they're in a tough division, and then you're likely going to see that Indy convert to a first. It's like these moves that he's making, although he made himself a pile of shit, he's I think for what he created for himself every move he's been making, maybe over the last 2 months, I would say, cautiously optimistic about Howie Roseman. And I mean, it probably will all blow up once he drafts like a TCU third string wide receiver at 12. But as of right now, I like the thought process of like building this organization over again with some what I would call a little bit more um, it's a little more poised than the last couple of years of all this free agent signings and trying to fix the bullet hole. For example, the bullet hole at wide receiver was being taped over with Mike Wallace and the Goodmans of the world or Goodwins of the world. So I'm definitely feeling more optimistic of this than I did immediately. And as time passed, it's just like if things work and break our way a little bit, we could be sitting here and getting one of the guys that we were thinking we had to choose at 6, at 12, and still net another pick.
Yeah, and I think there's a really good chance of that. I mean, if you look at our board, we had 8 guys on at 6. Um, 2 of them were quarterbacks we weren't really interested, and there was really never. I don't think we really ever thought either of those 2 would be at 6. You know,
Hmm.
I expected Trey Lance to be there at 6. It's looking like that's not going to happen. Well, maybe. Atlanta's really a wild card this year. But like the rest of the guys outside of like Pitts and Chase, I could almost see Pitts being there at 12. And I know everybody's super high on him, but he wouldn't be the first guy that slid a little bit. So I could almost it'd be a little stretchier, but most of the other guys outside of Chase, I could see being there.
Yeah, yeah. Chase is the one I don't see falling, but and then like you said, Pitts is another one. But I'm actually I was just kind of taking a look and seeing like where people are falling out on a couple of these mocks that have come out since the trade, and the Ringer actually has us getting him at 12, Kyle Pitts, which would be like the best thing for Philly. But you need a lot of things to break your way. You need like 2 tackles, 5 quarterbacks, and then the Cowboys and Giants both to decide they want to help their team defensively, which I mean that's logical and what they should be doing in my opinion because I think both of those teams need to kind of continue to build. But Dallas definitely to go that way, but I don't really know what the Giants are thinking because they're about a wild card too. But if it happens, it's good. If you have to choose between, I'm thinking, what some other players are falling out at. I'm not as upset about it just because I just have a feeling that you're still going to get a quality player there.
Yeah, yeah, man, I agree. I think you almost definitely going to get somebody. Just looking at the order now, we pretty much know Trevor Lawrence is going first. Seems like Zach Wilson is going second. Jets seem to be hot on him. That's what they're saying.
Hmm.
This conversation about the Eagles supposedly wanting to trade up to 3 for Zach Wilson actually makes my stomach turn if it's true. But I think that maybe Joe Douglas gave him a little heads up, like he ain't going to be there, so maybe don't make that move. Um,
Yeah,
and San Fran moved up. They're definitely getting a quarterback, so I'm assuming it's going to be Justin Fields, and they're comfortable with that. Atlanta's really the wild card. I do not know what Atlanta's going to do, and that may set the rest of the draft. Like that's where it branches into 2 possibilities. If they
hmm,
take Penny Sewell, then since he probably gets Chase, or yeah, since he probably gets Chase, and then like I don't know. I thought Miami traded up for Chase, but then if that gets screwed up because of Atlanta, and then Chase goes to Cincy, I don't really know what Miami does. And then Detroit, they could take a wide receiver. They lost Kenny Galladay this year. Um, is that the only wide receiver they lost, or did they lose somebody else?
they lost Marvin Jones to I think Jacksonville.
Okay, so they need a receiver. They could go. I would think Waddle if they really need an X. But we'll see. Carolina is in need of a quarterback. Maybe if Trey Lance is there, they grab him. If not, maybe they even reach on Mac Jones. Who knows? When there's a run on quarterbacks, there's a run. So if that falls out like that, I mean, who's left? Denver, Dallas, New York. I think there's a good shot. Maybe Pitts maybe Pitts is there, maybe Smith is there.
I think
Who
that
knows?
before us, I think five quarterbacks are going to go. I really do. I'm reading stuff that San Fran is trading up to three for Mac Jones, which I think is just hilarious. But if
There's
it,
no way. There's
if
no way.
if that would be the dream scenario, because then you're looking at Jones going at three, and then the Justin Fields, for I think he's from Atlanta, going in and going home. Now you got four straight quarterbacks off the board with Trey Lance still sitting there, and then you start looking at stuff, and you're like, as an Eagles fan, things start breaking your way. But if the worst case scenario is Micah Parsons, who I think unofficially, but at this pro day ran like a, it was ridiculous.
Four.
Did
It
you
was
see?
it was a 4.39, but
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I don't buy it. I just I don't. It's he probably ran a 4.4, which is fucking amazing, right? Like that's awesome. Give me a linebacker that runs a 4.4. That's great.
Hmm.
4.39. I don't know. I don't know. 4.44. I think is the one that I read. Like
And
that was
listen,
like the real time.
listen, seeing him play is like a different experience because of how like game speed is like kind of different than running really fast straight in a line. But watching that clip of him running towards the camera, like I'm watching it on my phone, and it was like one of those scary things that'll pop up on your screen. I was like, I like put my phone down. I was like, he's gonna run through the phone and absolutely destroy me. I just know it. So like if that's the worst case scenario that you trade it, essentially like Jamar Chase for Micah Parsons and a first round pick next year, I'd say that's a win for the Eagles anyway. Like worst case scenario, I still say the Eagles win the trade.
Then
So
I mean, you do need a wide receiver this year. Like you can't possibly leave the first like 3 rounds, probably 2 rounds without a wide receiver. And like then you're like really crossing your fingers that you can like grab I don't know, I guess Marshall in the
mhm.
second.
Just a matter of who you can get there. I mean, I think you have to go best player available, and whatever it falls out to be, even if that's a tackle, even if that's a corner. I think you just as much as you need wide receiver, there is such a void in of talent. Like I'm not like my thought is like I wouldn't want to reach for a Bateman if I can get a Surtain or a Parsons. That's just where I'm sitting at right now. And I do believe that if you do go anything but wide receiver off the bat, you have to go after it in round two. And as I'm saying this, I'm just like going through and running PFF mock drafts and seeing what players are falling to me, which I just which is like it's better than heroin. It has to be because PFF mock drafts are just like the most addicting thing in the world. I do like
Yeah,
six of them a day. This
the
this one I
PFN
get.
ones are pretty good too.
I want to do a different one just because uh, the last couple times I've done this, I've gotten like uh, Trevor Lawrence to fall to me, and I'm like, all right, PFF, you're drunk. This one I gotta restart the whole draft. But this one is an interesting one where Devonta Smith falls to me, and like that's a pretty good deal, especially if Chase goes five. I think a lot of people are going to look at this trade and be like, this was a home run for the Eagles because the one guy that they really should have went after wasn't even going to be available for him. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm
Yeah,
at with this.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's just so many question marks. We'll have to see how it plays out. But all in all, I think they got good value. The value of a first round pick is massive.
Hmm.
Especially, I mean, going into next year with the kind of ammunition they're going in with. Hopefully,
Hmm.
Jalen Hurts works out and is the quarterback of the future, and they can just hammer away next year at bringing in talent around him.
Hmm.
If you got 3 first rounders, you can go nuts. So,
Right.
that would be best case scenario.
Here's the best part about this trade because I know that you probably didn't feel the way I did, like my heart ripped out of my chest and stomped on by Carson Wentz. So I wish nothing good for him ever to happen on a football field again. Um, except
He's
I want him to play
got to play
75. So
75%.
yeah, I want
Yeah,
him. I want him to start off like on fire, five straight wins, playing every single snap, and then proceed to lose every game. So that way they go 5-12, and they have to still stick it out. Uh, but if you're a Carson Wentz guy and you're still rooting for him because of whatever, I don't understand you because you're not rooting for the Eagles in that context. But either
Hang on.
way, now you get to root for your Dolphins, and they can, hope they fail because there's no conditionals around that. There's no playing time. There's no anything. It's just the Dolphins just have to be not good. And in a division where you have Josh Allen and the Bills and a retooled and pissed off Bill Belichick, and now it looks like it's going to be Zach Wilson led Jets. I don't think that's enough to beat anybody just based off of the talent level they have on that team. But it's a tougher division. And at first I wanted the San Fran pick, but San Fran I think can make a lot of strides with their talent that they have. Like I look at now they're getting this quarterback, whatever falls to them, if it's Justin Fields or Mac Jones, or they want to go the Trey Lance route. Like they're going to be a little bit better than I think people are thinking just based off of. I think they have a Ayuk and Kittle and Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa, whatever one of those racist Bosas that's there. Um, make America great again, Bosa. So um, long story short, there's more things to root for than just the Eagles next year, which I think will be good because we may or may not need that. And and
Yeah.
and rooting against Miami will be fun.
I gotta tell you, man. I, I I don't hate Carson Wentz the way that people tend to hate him, but I'm actively rooting against him next year. I mean, like
Thank God.
long term I want to see him successful because I think he's a good player, and I don't like what happened here in Philly, and I don't think just like memeing how much everybody hates him is like a reasonable response. But like I want that pick to be high, bro. I hope he plays 17 games, and I hope they lose 17 games. I
That,
yeah,
that's
like
you know what like and you need that from somebody, especially for the people that listen that are Carson Wentz fans, and that's not a bad thing. I don't mean to say this, but Anthony the other day was like, I hope he wins every game and they win the Super Bowl. I'm like, then you pick at 32nd. And like, is that like, are you have to decide your allegiance. Like this is like a line in the stand moment for me. Like when the games start this year, you can't keep rooting for the guy to do well because it actively hurts your team. And it's
yeah,
either you're an Eagles fan or you're a Carson Wentz fan instead, or you could be both, but not apparently not in
not
2021. All right, guys, welcome back. We're here on this little just the tip episode talking about the trade, and we wanted to throw in a little something interesting. So what we're going to be doing here is a quick little baby boy 3 round mock draft. Do we have third round picks? We don't have fourth round picks. Um, so this will be a quick little 3 round draft. I think we have 5 picks here. So let's kick this bad boy off. Did it start? Yeah. Trevor Lawrence went 1. Penei Sewell 2. Chaos. Love it. Gregory Rousseau. Trey Lance.
we're so overdrafted there. Wow.
Oh man.
See now, see like this is like the
We have two
in
offers.
uh
I don't want that. Oh. Oh. They would never you can't do this one. We can't accept this because no one's gonna trade within division and the Eagles will never
so
let them jump up and get Mac Jones.
um oh man,
So 16 with
how
Kyle
do you
Pitts. Kyle Pitts is on the
realistically though with Bateman, Certain, Pitts, Waddle, Parsons all on the board.
I
Okay, on the board. How do you not take that for a one?
well no, it's 4 picks up and they're giving us the 22 second. So they're only
Yeah,
giving
but
us
I'm
a second.
I'm talking about the other offer.
Oh, I think we can't realistically take that Washington trade because that would never happen. That Washington would never trade within their division and try to get it. I guess they would offer it, but I have a hard time believing that they would the Eagles would take this. because
Well, then,
they don't want
to,
them to get Mac Jones.
to be honest, after you turned a 6 into a 12 and a first, if Kyle Pitts is there and you don't take him, you're just playing with fate. And I think if we're gonna do this, we should just take Kyle Pitts then.
All right. I also like the idea of Waddle here, but I think yeah, that's just too much talent to fall to 12.
But Trayvon Morig is a really good player. Who else is there?
I'm not interested in either of these either. I think I want to pick here.
Yeah, for the sake of like just keeping this easy
Hmm.
peasy, then I would just not even pay attention to that.
Okay. So like just real quick, it went Lawrence and then Penei Sewell, but would that probably would have been Zach Wilson.
Right. And then Fields would move up, and
And
then
then
let's say Sewell goes at 5.
mhm. Sewell goes at 5, Chase would go at 6, and then I still think this trades that's a live trade. I like that one. Trey Lance, Chicago going up and getting Trey. Uh, for
What the hell
that,
did they give up for that? Was they picking what, 21? Oh,
they
20.
gave up 20, 52, next year's first, next year's second, and next year's seventh. It's pretty
Holy fuck.
quite the haul. They'd get laughed at, but at least they're going after a quarterback. And Slater, Smith, Horn, Darashaw. I guess you got to build the offensive line if you're the Giants, so I'm okay with that. And
So
then,
like more realistically though, Patrick Surtain would go, Jalen Waddle would go in the top 10,
mhm,
as opposed to probably Gregory Rousseau and maybe Rashawn Slater. But if that happens, we
Pitts still
want,
falls.
yeah, Pitts would still be there. You know, if you move those two guys into the top 10 or 11, you really only need like one team to
Hmm.
take like a Christian Darrisaw or maybe even like a Quiddy Pay or Mac Jones to go in the top 10 to really be left with one of the guys you would have been happy with at 6.
Right. So that I mean that's not see, but this is what we're talking about, you know? Like even if that doesn't happen and you move some players around, the Eagles moving back 6 picks and getting a first next year, it just keeps every time I do one of these, I feel more enthusiastic about it. I'm like, oh, I got this guy, he fell to me, and I still
Yeah.
get the first next year. So I know you
Yeah.
said you wanted Trayvon Moreg at safety, but I would say let's just pander to the fans
Go
and
Asante.
I like Asante Samuel too. Yeah, I think you got to go with Asante Samuel because I like the idea of going corner. I was
I
actually
would have
going to
went
say
I
Terrence
would have went a
Marshall.
Fitu. I would have went a Fitu uh at 37 if he was there. He went at 35. But yeah, I don't think you can take. You have to. I think you have to leave with a defensive back. Out of the first 3 rounds, you got to have at least one defensive back and at least one pass catcher that are going to contribute day one. So here, I'm probably taking whatever defensive back I have highest rated. They
Hmm.
may have Trayvon Morig. They may have Asante. Let's just go with Asante because corner is like technically a more immediate need.
Yeah, yeah. And I really
Pause
don't
this.
like.
Pause this. Pause this. Hurry up. Pause it. Should we try to trade up to get your Jabril Cox?
Uh, let's see.
Do you think he goes?
Um, let's see.
We got
Well,
5 picks before.
I don't trust anything with the Texans because they need something everywhere. Do you think that let's see. This actually so actually we can't. Green Bay just traded up to get that. So let's let Green Bay pick here. Okay, they went cornerback. So let's prepare. Let's see if we can get something for this. The
Wow,
current
look at those
60.
picks. Wow. So obviously you got to give 70.
Yeah. So what if you gave 70? Do you think 70 in one of these conditionals is enough or no?
Probably not. But
Hey, let's try.
I mean,
Let's
like,
see.
just try it. Yeah, see what happens.
Uh,
Yeah, I didn't
I
think that was enough.
okay. Wait, hold on. Damn it.
Oh, you went. Oh, you
Uh,
went to Houston.
no, I don't trade with them until they're giving me Russell Wilson. And then Washington wants to move up 4 picks. I like this trade. If they would do this, I would do this. You move up 60 picks to go back four.
Yeah, go ahead, take it.
And that's less ridiculous to me because I've seen trades on Jesus. All right. No more trading back. Ooh. All right.
See, like this is funny because had we lost out on Pitts right here, I'd be all over Brevin Jordan in
hmm
Miami from um
I always find myself and maybe it's like it's a philosophy for me. I always end up picking one of these offensive linemen in the third round because I just feel like whatever the best offensive lineman is, you could always use one. But right here, I like the idea of grabbing like either the safety Holland from Oregon or Rashad Weaver. I think both of those players are pretty talented, and I wouldn't mind having address an edge in the draft because I just don't know what they're going to have with Derek Barnett, and I don't know what I don't know what Josh Sweat is. I don't know what those players are going to be, and you only have so many more years of Brandon Graham, so I think you probably want to load up that pipeline as well.
they can't help themselves. They're taking an edge player at some point in this draft, and
Right?
they're
It's just
certain. Yeah, they're going to. So I'm all right with it if you want to just grab Weaver.
yeah. Let's see. I'm curious to see how we grade out on this. I and
wonder if
then
that's all of
imagine
them.
Merrill Reese as Dylan Moses hits the A gap and stops a run play in his tracks, and he goes, "Dylan Moses parts the Red Sea." So I'm
Well,
sold.
now I want him. Yeah, now I
Yeah,
want him.
yeah. A plus, A plus pick. Thank you. All right, I think we're done here. So let's see what we grade out at. Can you turn this up? We can speed this up in the
We're filling the
meantime.
empty space. Great content, great radio. Also, if you guys this is terrible radio. No one sees the screen. We may have to drop this as like a little video.
Yeah, so I guess there's no grade on that, but that's fine.
I don't mind that though.
Yeah, I mean,
I,
if you walk out of the first 4 rounds with an elite pass catcher after trading back from 6 to 12, you still get a corner that in a lot of drafts is going late one. Um, of course, they're going to get an edge rusher at some point. I don't know if it'll be at 74 overall, but they probably will. And you need a linebacker that can contribute day one. At 84, what's that? It's round three. You
hmm
expect the third rounder to contribute day one, and there's not that much fucking competition. Alex Singleton, Denard Avery. Are there
I
any other
keep forgetting
linebackers
they
on this
moved him
roster?
over. I don't
Well,
think
he
so.
was he was a linebacker when they brought him in, and then they tried to ham fist him into being like an edge rusher or something. He's back at his natural position, so we'll have to see how good he is.
I don't know.
But
I saw a picture of him today, and his arm was the size of my thigh. So if that was any indication of if he's a surefire lock to be the best linebacker in the league, then I'm in. I'm not easily convinced.
you're not. Yeah.
I don't buy into
All
hype
right.
trains.
Thanks for watching or listening or however you guys are tuning into us today. We appreciate it. I know this was a little bit rushed, a little bit. The quality wasn't what we're normally putting out, but we just wanted to make sure that we got something out there with this trade. It's a big deal, so we
Yeah,
appreciate it. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Check out our social media. Check out our anchor page. You know, keep up with us. Make yourselves heard. We want to hear from you. We want to talk to you.
yeah. For the love of God, just if you all just tell two of your friends and then make them listen to it, like force them to, then we would quadruple our listeners. So, go ahead and
Yeah,
do that. Yeah,
you could be
seriously.
like an independent business owner. This is multi-level marketing, but just tell your
Yeah,
friends about our podcast.
you're here on the ground level, and then well, you'll pay for 20 of our shirts, but
Right.
then you sell them to people under you for twice that. Now
Right.
you've made double. So just think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is your opportunity.
Yeah.
Opportunity is knocking.
The Philly special shirts are very rare. In fact, there's only 0 in existence.
hmm
So if you get
Yeah,
your hands on one of those, It's a counterfeit. We didn't make it.
If you get your hands on a TPS shirt, you made it.
Yeah, you made it yourself.
You weirdo. All right, I'll talk to you guys.